The Métis, a culture so essential to the identity of Canada. But who are they? They were born in the borderlands, not of countries, but of cultures. Out of the fur trade, out of alliances and necessity, out of love and survival. They are the Métis, not half, not lesser, but whole. A people, a nation, a heartbeat. To understand Canada, you must understand the Métis, because they're not just part of the Canadian story, they helped build it. The Métis emerged in the 1700s from the unions between European fur traders, mostly French and Scottish, and Indigenous women from the Cree, Saulteaux, Ojibwe, and other nations. These were not brief encounters. They were relationships, communities, families. Over time, these families grew into something new. Not French, not First Nations, but something distinct. A new people, speaking a new language, living a new way of life on the land we now call Canada. And they would call themselves Métis. This was no accidental culture. It was intentional, evolving, blending Indigenous knowledge of the land with European economic systems. The Métis were the lifeblood of the fur trade. They were guides, interpreters, trappers, traders, voyageurs. Their bison hunts fed the Hudson's Bay Company. Their carts, the Red River carts, rumbled across the prairies carrying pemmican and goods, carving trails that settlers would later call roads. But the Métis didn't just adapt. They thrived. They built communities, places like Red River, Batoche, St. Laurent. They developed the Michif language, a stunning blend of Cree verbs and French nouns, a living embodiment of two worlds woven together. They created their own governance, their own laws, their own cultural norms. They were a people, proud, independent, and deeply rooted in the land. And then came betrayal. As Canada pushed westward in the 1800s, Métis lands became bargaining chips. Treaties were signed, not with the Métis, but around them. Surveyors arrived, settlers followed. The land that had sustained the Métis for generations was suddenly fenced, parceled, claimed, and the Métis resisted. In 1869 at Red River, under the leadership of Louis Riel, they formed a provisional government. They didn't ask for war, they asked for recognition, for a voice. And they got it. Manitoba entered Confederation with Métis rights enshrined in the agreement, but promises were broken. Scrip, a cruel and confusing system meant to compensate Métis with land, ended in dispossession and exploitation. Riel would lead them again in 1885, this time at Batoche. Another stand, another plea to be heard. They were crushed. Riel was hanged for treason. A nation mourned. Canada turned the page, but the Métis did not disappear. They held on to their culture, to their stories, to each other. They danced, they fiddled, they stitched stories into beadwork. They passed down Michif through whispers. They raised children with pride, even when governments and schools tried to erase it. The 20th century was hard. Métis people lived on the margins, often without the recognition given to First Nations or Inuit. Many were denied access to services, ignored by law, erased from maps. But still, they endured. They organized, they fought back. And finally, in 1982, the Canadian Constitution recognized them as one of the 3 Indigenous peoples of Canada. That recognition didn't fix everything, but it cracked the door. Since then, the Métis have walked through it with strength. Today, Métis governments negotiate their own self-determination. Métis scholars teach their history in universities. Métis artists light up our stages, screens, and galleries. Their flag, the infinity symbol, waves at festivals, schools, and parliaments. Because the Métis story isn't just one of survival, it's one of contribution. Without the Métis, Canada would not have had a functioning fur trade. Without the Métis, there would be no Red River, no Manitoba, no Louis Riel, the father of Confederation in the West. Without the Métis, this country would be missing one of its most powerful, poetic, and enduring voices. So next time you speak of this country's history, speak of the Métis, not as a footnote, but as a foundation. Please like and subscribe for more videos about Canada.